What have been some of the key things you think that have driven that growth of the agency forward to where we are today of 50 people?
We're 100% self-funded, and I've seen and been in other agencies just after they've gone through an acquisition, and you're not able to make those decisions very quickly.
Welcome to Have You Heard, Zoe? The first time of the new format that we've done. For people that have probably watched us on LinkedIn, they've seen we do a lot of short form. We've even had questions, Instagram DMs going, we can't find your long form podcast on audio only anywhere.
From all three of our fans.
Yeah, well, a few people. But yeah, no, this is obviously the first one of the new series. Have You Heard? Going to be doing all sorts from obviously topics about the agency as a whole and how we've grown it, how you can get the best out of your agency and all things like that, as well as lots and lots of social topics, insights, strategies, what we're up to, how we're helping brands, and sort of giving as much value, I guess, to marketing managers out there, people interested in social, want to build a career in social. So yeah, really excited to have you on today. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. We're going to have a jingle.
We've got an intro, which may have already just played, but yeah, it's going to be, a whole new style of podcast. Obviously, we're doing it in a similar format, a similar place to where we've already done it so far, but soon enough, new office as well, new backdrop, which I'm really excited about on top of that. I guess today I wanted to talk to you about, our journey so far, but, where we are today, we're 50 people. More, it's more than that with sort of signed hires. We've been going for just over 4 years now. I really wanted to sort of delve into that with you and sort of give people insight into what that story looks like, how things have changed throughout the whole process. So I guess to ask you straight away, obviously for ourselves, it was just between the two of us, the first 18 months or so.
Yeah.
How did you find that? And then how is it sort of progressed through the years? How has it progressed through the different stages?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting because whenever we first started, we had the name The Social Shepherd, but we were doing very broad digital marketing services, and we did everything. So that's from new business to pitching to actually physically making the content, editing. I was the sole video editor for a while. And so I think as we've grown, at times, I think we've both probably found it quite hard to take our hands off some of the doing and focus on sort of driving the business forward. And it's happened over a really short period of time. Or so what sort of felt so from us, I know there's lots of agencies that go from 0 to 200 in 2 years and stuff like that. But to us, going from 0 to 50, nearly 60 in 4 years has been a lot as well. So it's just been really different. But yeah, at the start we were doing everything, and then about 18 months in, Martin joined, and then Izzy joined after that, who has just come back actually, which was really good fun. So then we started hiring, but it was still very much, and some of the teams say it today, and it could be a bit of an issue sometimes actually, where they'll be like, we used to work right next to you. You would do all of our content approvals for us, and you would physically create the content, and we haven't seen you for a couple of days, or however long it kind of takes. But it's just as the team has sort of changed and evolved, so have both of our roles in the business. And
specifically, I guess, around your role. So obviously, like you said, you were editing, doing all sorts like that. Where are you, I guess, how has that role changed to where you are today? And where does that look like, again, do you reckon, in sort of 12 months' time?
I mean, I think at the minute I still have to do quite a lot of deliverable, but we're really investing in our senior team at the minute. So we've got a new creative director, we've got our business director, Adam, and we're just scaling out that. So there will be more sort of roles coming in the future, but I guess I'm sort of moving into more of a traditional MD role, and then, my role and title may change in a couple of years' time, dependent on who we kind of have coming through the door. But I think one of our big points over the last 6 months has been getting comfortable with change ourselves, and also getting the team comfortable with change too. And I don't think any of them would sort of mind me saying that, because change can be daunting. And coming into a business that's got 15 people in it, and then it's suddenly very quickly changing to a business with 50 people in it can be daunting, but it's really good for everyone, and it's really good for career growth. It means that we've got a lot of progression opportunities. So I'm really proud of the fact that we've still maintained like a really close bond with the team. And I don't really think we want to lose that as we grow, although I know that can be like a massive struggle for some people that own businesses to maintain that culture of a small company as you scale.
What have been some of the key things you think that have driven that growth of the agency forward to where we are today of 50 people?
So someone asked me this the other day, and I find it really hard to answer that question without sounding like a bit of a dickhead at times. And you can cut that out, Maria, if you want to. But it's like one of the core things is like just continually going. Like you're not going to wake up every single morning and want to go into the office and want to go in and chat to the team. And there's going to have to be difficult conversations that you have. Not every single person that you bring into the business is going to be the right fit. And also, like I said earlier, when people come into the business at 15 people, we're going to have to level up to get to 50 people. So you might get to a stage and someone's like, actually, this isn't quite right for me anymore. And so it's not shying away from difficult conversations, always like getting up and going, even if you don't feel like you want to. Like consistency and hard work outweigh talent, if that makes sense. If you can be talented, consistent and hardworking, then you're on like a path to success. But if you only have talent and that's all you rely on, and there's a lack of consistency and a lack of hard work, then you're not going to achieve anything.
Yeah.
And I always think like if you're doing something that you feel a little bit uneasy with, or you're maybe uncomfortable, or it's a place of that you haven't done before, that's an opportunity for growth. So I think like the consistency of just always turning up and always being there has definitely happened. Yeah. But I think some of the more like technical aspects of why it's done well is the fact that we're 100% self-funded. Like I think you put a couple grand into the business whenever we first started. And aside from that, we haven't taken any investment. We're completely sort of self-sustainable as a business.
Why do you think that's been a key factor for growth?
Because I think like whenever you start taking investment, you know, we're able to make all of the decisions for the business and make them really quickly if we need to. And I've seen and been in other agencies just after they've gone through an acquisition, and you're not able to make those decisions very quickly, and quite quickly like red tape and like processes for the sake of processes can kind of come in. And so I think we're really like laser set on the vision that we have for the business and the future plan, and not having other people come into it and be able to kind of like steer us in different directions. Or, you know, I think a lot of people sometimes, we've talked about it quite a lot, have a symptom of going for like quick cash in business. And I think there's definitely been opportunities where we could have said, oh, do you know what, we'll delve into this because it's really lucrative right now for the next 3 months. But that steers you off course to your final destination. And so I think it's like a technical aspect of the fact that we've just stayed laser focused. Yeah. And it's meant that we've been able to make the decisions as to when to invest in what. You know, we're about to move into an office space which will be, I mean, forever is a very long time, but it will be a home for the agency, and it will house like, we'll be able to have over 100 employees in Bath, and we've been able to say we can as a business responsibly afford to be able to do that. And I guess that's another thing, is making responsible decisions, because you see so often businesses hire too quickly, or they spend all their money on like a sexy office space before they can afford to do it, and they don't make wise decisions, and they kind of get overshadowed by what they think running a business should be like, and not understanding that like it's scrappy at the start, and you need to do that and really be involved in it and get into the nitty gritty. And you know, I'd say for the first 3 years, like you and I were doing your 10, 11, 12 working days, and that's not necessarily healthy all the time, and I wouldn't necessarily advise it to everyone. And we've definitely taken more of a step back and created better boundaries between work and life. But again, it does come down to hard work, and I think you kind of need to do that to be able to grow something of real value.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I always put it down to sort of two core pillars, one being operational, one being marketing and growth side as well, because you need the marketing side, you need the leads, you need the new business to fuel the growth. There's no good having that growth if you can't fulfill the work,
True.
You can't do a good job, you can't retain, because the balance is retention and doing great work that people shout about, will refer you to other new business, will want to work with you, even if they leave their job in one business, then move to another brand. Those type of things fuel that extra growth, but having that new business constant flow, I think, is what sets us apart.
To be fair, you smashed it with the SEO work that you did quite early on, and we've really reaped the benefits of that.
Which is funny because we're not an SEO agency. It's my first time ever doing SEO, but I kind of just geeked out, to be honest, on SEO for many years. Never really implemented any campaign myself, soaking up knowledge all across those years and just implemented it, and it worked very, very well. We're in a place now where we're getting sort of 80,000 plus people, individual unique users to site on a monthly basis, which is unbelievable. Obviously not all from the UK, which is our main market, but yeah, that's been a huge factor in the growth, and obviously podcastings, and this is why we want to introduce these longer form pieces of content. And we've got obviously Rob that recently joined as our videographer, where we're going to be creating even more content for everyone across our socials, the podcast, all things like that, and really build that brand of the Social Shepherd. And that's where I see the next stage of growth, is that brand piece marketing, where it's not just visit our site because you've searched social media agency. You're coming to us because you know the Social Shepherd, and when you're in market for a social media agency, the Social Shepherd rolls off your tongue.
Yeah,
that's where we're really pushing towards now.
To be fair, you're right. I think the new business element has been phenomenal for us, if that makes sense. And also because now across the agency, I think we actually in 2022 had 45 clients, and now that's decreased a little and it's more like 35. But the average billing of clients has gone up. But now we're at a place where we've got the stream of new business coming in from the content work that you've done, but we've also got a lot of referrals that come with clients. And as we've scaled up the level of clients, where we've got clients that pay us 20, 30, 40 grand a month, in some aspects, they're also referring similar levels of business. So it has been a bit of a challenge, and we did implement quite a lot of changes last year to kind of go from that smaller boutique style agency into, okay, let's really go full pelt at this. Let's get the Bath office sorted. Let's then move into a London office. Let's get it really gritty and sticking within the industry.
I've always, when I was watching videos before starting the agency, and still do, a lot of people go, referrals is one of the main ways you get new business. I mean, we got a few in the early stages, but it wasn't really a thing. But I think now that we've had those years of work with people, people don't refer someone, you to someone else in the first 3-6 months of working with each other. They need to see and build that trust with you over a long period of time. So now we're seeing it really come to sort of fruition, I would say, at this point, where we're getting those referrals and seeing the benefit of all that hard work we've put in over those years with those clients, building those relationships. So yeah, I think referrals is going to continue becoming more and more of a thing for us as we continue to grow. And I guess that one leads me into sort of the next place. You referred to it quite a bit as we're going from startup to scale up as well. What does that mean to you?
I'd say we're well and truly in the scale up now, if I'm entirely honest. But I think it just means getting the business to a place where it's scalable, across multiple different divisions or whatever that looks like. But also we can make really clear hiring decisions and know where those people slot into quite easily. And it just means that at the minute, I think I have around 14 direct reports in the business. And I personally, and some people may disagree with me, but I think if you're really going to be a direct line manager to someone and you're going to teach them what to do, not tell them what to do, I think the absolute maximum that you should have should be 5. And so we're working on getting a team in place so that I can reduce that line of direct reports down from 14. And the plan is to get that down to 7 within the next 12 months, which would be much more manageable and would also enable me to be able to do that in the same way. So it's about making sure that every role in the business isn't stretched too thin, but you naturally are going to have a little bit of stretching too thin when you're in that scale up process, because you've got to stretch before you can implement into it if you're making responsible decisions. So scale up is just about us having really clear roles and responsibilities across all departments and making sure that anytime a brand comes to us, we can go, okay, we might not have the people right now to be able to resource that, but we know exactly how we would resource that in the click of a button.
One thing that I wanted to ask you as well, might be some controversial answers in this, but I guess what's your like favourite and also least favourite part of running the agency?
So they're probably the same thing, to be entirely honest. And again, controversially, but I love the people that we work with, and I really value the team and their opinions, and like I have so much respect for everyone, and I love coming into work every single day because I get to spend time with everyone. But at the same time, and I think any business owner can relate to this, is people are the most complex part of a business. And not just because naturally people are complex. They have lives, they have goals. It's going to change throughout their time, and just making sure that we're able to cater to that whilst also setting like realistic expectations. And you have to understand like when to flex and when to sort of be like, okay, well, no, this is kind of the standard that we have to sort of expect here. But that probably is the most challenging part of it at times, but it's also the most rewarding part of it at times. And I'm sure we'll go on to do like other podcasts about like management and stuff, but definitely gone on like a management journey, and I'm very much still going on that and sort of learning as we grow. But I'd say that's been quite challenging, and I definitely am getting better at it. And you may disagree with this, but I found it very difficult in the start to switch off from work. I found it really difficult, and it did really take quite like a toll on me. Like I didn't sleep properly for like months on end, and find it all quite, it wasn't stressful because the business has been doing really well, but it's more so the stress of like, are the teams supported? You know, wouldn't ever want anyone here to feel like overworked or anything of that nature, and we try really hard to make sure that doesn't happen, but it does take a toll on you. And so getting better at that and saying, okay, well, to be able to do this correctly, then I have to support myself in this way. That's sort of an ongoing journey that I think we're both probably going on a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean,
sometimes in that circumstance, you try and fall into the trap of taking on work for other people when it's not your role, and then
yeah, I have this like like if I end up, which is very rare, with like a free afternoon, I'll be like, oh, so who wants me to do their work for them? I'm like, no, I really shouldn't do that because I've got 1,000,001 other things that I could be doing. But I like still being involved in it, but I know that sometimes that's not actually the best use of my time. So I'm trying to train myself a little bit better. Yeah. What about you? What's the best and most challenging parts?
Like you almost said, there's nothing that's because it's gone fair, well. It's been relatively straightforward journey. There's not been any like, we've not had it where 30% of the clients have all left us in a month and we're panicking and scrambling. It's always been relatively in that sort of up and to the right journey in terms of growth. So that's been plain sailing as much as plain sailing can be. I think the thing that I enjoy the most, again, same as you, is the people. I'm someone that will come into the office 5 days a week. I want to be around people. I love building relationships, friendships with everyone, getting to know different people, their strengths, their weaknesses, how that can impact everything and how everyone can work well together. The toughest parts, I think, in the same essence of that, running the business can be lonely. Obviously, we have lots of chats together about how, outside of the office, but still lonely in a sense. We've obviously got certain friends that you can speak to as well outside. But I think that's one thing as well. It may seem like it's not lonely, but actually it can be.
I think that's one thing that we probably should have mentioned when we talked about like why the business has got to where it is because like I don't actually think I would have been able to grow the business, like even just from like what it takes from you mentally to be able to do it if I was doing it on my own, because like I said, it is lonely, but having like, it's nice to do it with a partner. And obviously like it comes with its own challenges, like running a business with the person that you're in a relationship with, if that makes sense. But I don't think I'd be able to sort of do it any other way personally. But I think that's probably one of the core reasons as to why it's done as well as possible.
I've heard it before, with when picking a business partner, is you need to find someone with different skill set but the same vision,
Mm-hmm.
rather than where it goes wrong is people with the same skill set and maybe the same vision, but
Mhm.
they're just on each other's toes. They might have a few disagreements because they think they know best in that one particular area, or they have different skill sets, but different visions. And that's where it leads to friction, where someone wants to continue growing and one quite happy where it is and things like that. So I think because we have those different skill sets, but the same vision where we want to work towards,
Yeah.
that's the sort of most powerful thing. But yeah, I think we've covered quite a bit there. And yeah, I'm really happy with sort of where we are today.
Yeah, I'm super
going-
proud.
Lots going on ahead for the future. And I'm sure we'll go into, like you said, more podcasts about that growth and how things adapt and change. And obviously we're going to be creating all sorts of content across our socials. Yeah, thank you very much for joining
That's
me
all right.
today, and I look forward to doing more podcasts with you. So